Hey guys, me it's Dr. M. If you drink alcohol or you're exercising and you're considering doing the paleo and or the keto, then I got to tell you, you're definitely going to want to watch this video to the end, because there are going to be some things that you might not even know that if you do drink alcohol or you exercise while you're on one of those plans, it could literally end up leading you into the hospital. Or if you get your blood test done at a certain time, the doctor could scare you. And so really what we're looking at the long run of what's really healthy for you for the long run. Because that's really what it's all about, right? With health, I mean, we're not looking for a quick fix. We're looking for the answers to be in the long run so that we're healthy and we're vibrant. We've got a lot of energy and we not only look good, but we feel good, but we also live as long as quality life that we possibly can. And the truth is that when you're looking at disease, disease doesn't just happen. People aren't just healthy and all of a sudden get a debilitating type of disease, unless they're in an accident or some kind of injury occurs. But typically what happens is they've had slowly a declining health and then they start having some problems. And so I want to try to avoid those pitfalls for you, because quite honestly, there's a lot of things that you might not even know just because you feel good or look good and not know that you're doing something wrong for your health. And I've been doing functional medicine now for a little while with lots of patients, guys, over the years. And bottom line, we're looking to see how healthy you're functioning. So that's what we want to make sure, that you're not just looking good, but you're functioning well. And then trying to prevent any disease we possibly can if we see bad lab markers. Okay, but before we even get into details, let's just go a little bit about what's the difference between the paleo and the keto diet, because let's face it, at the core there are a lot of similarities in these diets, right? Now and there's also a lot of benefits to these type of diets that definitely can occur. There's no question about it. And then there's also a lot of negative research out there, or I guess press, if you will, about these types of diets. But really, we want to make sure that, number one, if you're having heart disease, or if you're on medication, if you're drinking alcohol and there's variability in your health, then sometimes a lot of these types of diets, especially when you go a little more hardcore, they really need to be done under doctor supervision. Okay, I want to say that out there again. So I can't tell you what diet to follow. You always got to check with your doctor before you begin any program. Okay, just a little disclaimer. All right, so basically what we're seeing is that when we're on the paleo diet, okay, this is a diet really where we talk about where there was no advance of tech. So there was no genetically modifying any types of food. We're looking at what our ancestors could have been eating. And so that's the whole argument about the paleo diet. But then you go the other research that shows you that the ancestors might not have been eating what we think that they've been eating anyway. But the argument is that this is what the ancestors were eating. And so, without getting in too depth about that, let's just understand, well, our ancestors probably couldn't have ate, canned and boxed types of food, right? Processed types of food. And so on the paleo, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to want to eat foods that are going to be processed, that are going to be in a box, that are going to be in a can, even though they say all natural and healthy. All natural is not going to be sitting inside of a box somewhere, okay? So just understand that on the paleo, you're not going to get away with that types of food. Basically, when you're looking at a paleo diet, what people are typically eating are going to be, if a caveman could eat it, then you're probably going to be all right with it. So we're talking about grass-fed beef, wild fish. We're talking about nuts. We're talking about eggs. We're talking about plant-based oils, and we're talking about no grains. Okay, that means your breads, your pastas, your rice, and no legumes like beans and peanuts. And we're talking about no refined sugars and no dairy and no salt. Okay, so those are the no-nos on the paleo. So now you can have bone broth, you can have bone marrow, you can have liver. You get the point. You can eat what a caveman would have ate if he hunted and killed something, but you can't eat something that you were going to jewel to buy if a caveman couldn't have killed it and ate it. In other words, when a caveman was around, he went out there and hunting with this tribe. they got an animal, and typically when they got the animal, here's a little news for you, trivia you might not know. What we do know from studies out there, and now watching people that are still that try to live that kind of lifestyle, that are tribes out there, guess what they eat? Even animals, when they kill an animal, you know what they eat first? They eat the organ meats. And so they're eating like the liver, they're eating the heart, they're eating the brains, and then they're going and attacking and eating that muscle. And why is that? Because, those types of meats, they're going to be very nutrient dense. And so that's why they typically will, on the paleo diet, all those types of nutrient dense foods are really going to be good and healthy for you to be eating. Okay? So, and the other part about that, now when the tribe was out there hunting, what were the women and children probably doing? They were, they weren't just cleaning house, right? Cleaning the cave. They were out there hunting and gathering. And so if you can, foods that you can forage and those vegetables and those fruits, then that's going to be okay on the paleo diet. So if you ever watch like Naked and Afraid, right? On the Naked and Afraid, if you couldn't eat that on Naked and Afraid, probably it's not going to be on the paleo diet, all right? Now, the paleo diet, it's also sometimes it can be great. It can be great for people that are lactose intolerant, because bottom line is that, you can't have dairy on the paleo diet. You can't have gluten on the paleo diet. So people that have lactose intolerant, people that have celiac disease, they're going to do pretty well with that. People that have yeast problems, like the white coated tongue, they're tired, they're fatigued all the time, and nobody can figure it out, but they have yeast overgrowth or candida. They're basically, by having and limiting your fruits on the paleo diet, they're going to do very well on that type of diet. So it's going to be well for people that have IBS, the people that have reflux, because a lot of times people that have actually reflux, I don't know if you know this, they have issues with legumes, with beans. And also a lot of times people that have IBS problems, they could be okay with lactose to some degree, not necessarily lactose intolerant, but they could have a little sensitivity to it. So they start getting leaky gut and start having issues with their microbiome in their gut, and so they don't really do well unless they have some form of the paleo diet. So it does well for a lot of people. Now, the keto diet, what you really got to know is that the paleo diet, you can still have the carbohydrates. Okay, so at the keto diet, they're trying to get your body into what's called ketosis. So it's all about metabolic shift. So on the paleo diet, they're still using sugar or glucose for energy because they can have carbohydrates, but but the right type of carbohydrates. But on the keto diet, they want you to go into ketosis, and so your metabolism is going to be using fat for energy, and so that's a major concept there on the keto diet. Okay, so basically, in summary, on the paleo diet, it's about hunter-gatherer kind of lifestyle, where the keto objective is all focused on shifting your metabolism into using fat and not glucose for energy. So the keto diet, you're going to have lots and lots and lots of fat. Not McDonald's fat, but good healthy fat, okay? Fat is good for you. Fat is good for your body. Give you an example. Coconut oil, right? You rub it on your face. It can help your skin. And the nice thing about it, it's an antimicrobial, so it has a lot of benefits to it. So fat is good for you, okay? But the good healthy fat, the avocados, all that stuff, the good healthy fats are going to be good for you. The keto diet, so basically what they're telling you is that you can have 75% of your fats in your diet. People like that. They like fat. I like it. Now the other part is protein. You can have about 20% of your meals going to come from protein, and about 5% of your meal comes from carbs. So really, I want this a major focus, okay? Major point here. Oh, I need your attention. If you're zoning off, zone back in. Major point here is that your grams of carbohydrates for the day, so you got to look things up when you're eating, for the day have to be under 50 grams of carbohydrates, because that's very important, because if you eat more than that in a day, yes, you could be losing weight when you're on the keto diet, but you'll get out of ketosis. And so they want that major metabolic shift for you to be burning fat for energy while you're on the keto diet, okay? On the paleo, you can have about, for like a maintenance level, you can have about 100, 150 grams of carbohydrates a day. You can have 50 to 150 moderate amounts of carbohydrate for like a moderate level of fat loss. You're going to lose fat, but you're still going to be using sugar for your energy. And then for aggressive type of weight loss, then you're going to want to stay more on the ketogenic type of a lifestyle, okay? But I told you that it could be dangerous, right? It could be very dangerous if you are exercising or if you are drinking alcohol. I do a lot of weight loss in my clinic, and I got to tell you that I have patients that when I go through weight loss, I do, when I get them into ketosis, or I'm doing like what's called an ideal protein type of foods, we're making it easier for them. I don't want to keep them on that forever, but some of these patients really need to lose weight, and it's the lesser of the two evils for them. And so basically, I have them sign a paper that they tell me that if they're going to go into ketosis, that they're not going to be drinking any alcohol during that time. Why can they not drink alcohol during that time? See, guys, listen. What happens when you get into ketosis, depending on when the doctor actually takes your blood, it can freak him out. Depending on the timing that he actually takes your blood when you're in the ketosis, it can really scare a doctor into saying you need to get off it, because at some point during this cycle when you're doing that, your liver enzymes and all these other markers start going through the roof, and a doctor says, what the heck is actually going on? Now, what you hear on the internet is all the good stuff. Yeah, like your triglycerides drop, then they lost weight, they got more energy, and they feel better, and all this stuff improved. Yes, it does. It does improve over the long haul, but there is a point in that cycle where it's occurring where those markers actually go really bad for some people. Not everybody, but for a lot of people that actually does happen at some point. And so if a person's at that point where their liver is actually working really hard to have that happen, because in ketosis, you're taking fats. The fats are being broken down. The liver's working extra hard, and they're going into fatty acids. And they're actually being broken down into ketones, so your body can use those ketones for energy. That gets hard on the body during certain times, and then a person's chugging in alcohol. Guess what happens when that happens is now our alcohol also is going to be detoxified by the liver. It's going to affect the liver enzymes even further. So it can be bad, and it can be dangerous. The other thing is that it can happen is that if you're exercising and you're not getting enough carbohydrates and you're exercising strenuously, yeah, you could be losing weight. Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that. But isn't all about, health? It's about not just losing weight and getting small. You want to have good lean muscle, right? You want to lose body fat. So if you're exercising really hard and you're in ketosis and there's not enough requirements of carbohydrates that you're actually getting in, you know what could happen, guys? You're going to lose weight, but you could also be losing muscle. And so we don't want that to happen. And so when we typically have people on a ketosis diet, we have them lower their intensity level, and in some cases we don't even let them exercise at all to get them to lose weight, just to keep it healthy. Okay, and then we never keep them on ketosis forever either. All right, so just guys, these are some things that you really should know, because some people, they're so like by the book that they stick on it and they stay on it and they think that they're looking great and they stay on it like that for a lifetime, and then it could not be good for you in the long run. So we want to make sure that you're healthy for the long run, okay? But those diets can definitely, they play a part in your health. All right, I mean, you've got all kinds of studies out there right now. You got lots of studies from the Journal of New England Medicine. You got the Internal Medicine journals out there. They've got research out there. I know for me personally, practicing for over 20 plus years, seeing lots and lots of patients go through a process where they're on lots and lots of drugs, a lot of medication, not feeling well, not feeling like themselves, getting frustrated because they don't feel well, they have pain, they don't, they don't feel well, they have problems, and obviously they don't feel well, so they don't want to do anything. And then they get more and more and more and more drugs. They get in a cycle. And then we start changing their health, start modifying things. We give them little baby steps, and little by little, we get them to the process where we can actually bring them into ketosis. And then we start seeing, they're lowering their triglycerides. We see their cholesterols drop. We see their blood pressure. We see their blood sugar. If you look on my website, therealdoctor.com, you'll even see some older patients that are not diabetic anymore, that are off all their drugs. Why? Because we brought them through a healthy process in it, but we didn't give them just like the Holy Grail, okay? So there really is no exact diet for everybody. The diet is going to depend on you and what your needs are, all right? So and what I'm seeing typically, is that paleo diet is going to be great for people that are not just concerned about weight loss. You can lose weight on the paleo if you lower your carbohydrates, obviously, but what I'm saying is that it's more for people that are having more health types of issues and just want to get better, healthier overall. The keto diet, a lot of people, it works better for people that want to lose weight, and want to lose body fat, if it's something they can actually stick with, okay? But everybody is case by case of how they handle things. I personally like the gentle approach, like to bring people in through a process and let them build up and get stronger. But there are some people that want to gung-ho, and even if they're gung-ho, I don't bring them into ketosis right away. We gently bring them through a process to get them to that point anyway. So it's done healthy and it's done safe. And then we also educate them about how much important it is not to do strenuous exercise and how much exercise they can actually do. And again, if they're going to stay in ketosis, we don't want them drinking alcohol because the effect that it has on the liver. Okay, that's great, right? Hey, some other great information I want to tell you too. Just something, a side note, because I think these are kind of important things to know. Did you know like the keto diet, it wasn't even actually designed for weight loss? You know what it was designed for? Something that you might find interesting. Epilepsy. Yep. 1920s, the doctors realized that keeping patients on low carbohydrate diets force people to use fat instead of glucose for energy. So fat, as I said before, it breaks down into fatty acids, then into ketone bodies, and then for energy. So we don't know exactly, I'm not going to tell you when we know exactly. We don't know exactly how it works to help slow down the seizures, but that kind of practice kind of went away with the advent of drugs. But you know what? There are people out there that still need some help, and so I'm just letting you know that if they are having seizures, that was one of the practices that diet did help with seizures, okay? So if diet helps with seizures, it probably help with a lot of different things. All right, so the big difference in the paleo and the keto is that, people who start on the paleo, typically what are they doing? They're trying to improve their health, symptoms, and not necessarily overall concern about weight loss, but would definitely, benefit from some general weight loss as well too. Paleo, you cannot consume dairy. It's a no-no, and no means no, okay? It really does mean no. And why? Because people that have a lot of symptoms going on, like issues with health problems, a lot of times they have food allergies and food sensitivities. They have gut problems. They've got leaky gut. They have inflammation. They've got problems with their microbiome of their gut. And so all these gut and digestive types of problems can lead to a cascade of hormones and chemical soups and toxicity that just, they just don't do well. And so they're typically, not always, but typically, we have them on some kind of modified type of paleo type of diet. Where in the keto diet, people want that massive, the keto diet, they can have massive amounts of consumption of dairy. And why do they do that? The reason they do that, because it's easy. So they want something quick, they want fast, so they take, gulps of, I see this weightlifters all the time, they take this whey protein and they're just chugging it down all the time to build muscle. And, they're just having gobs and gobs of dairy and so forth. And a person that's got digestive issues or sensitivities, that could really kind of mess them up, okay? So keto guys basically, They can have the heavy creams. They don't care if it's half and half. They don't care about any of that stuff. They can have the fake sugar and all the other things that are not necessarily going to be good for you, okay? All right, so the difference is paleo, but with the paleo, right, no artificial sweeteners, so Splenda is no. It wasn't around the caveman days, right? Keto people will load up on stevia and Splenda. Now remember that stevia is natural, I get it, but it's still somewhat processed, so something you should be aware of. Now you might be asking yourself what's best for you. Well, I just told you if you want to lose weight, keto is going to be effective at that, doing that. But again, you got to watch your alcohol consumption because we have our sign a waiver for our patients that don't be drinking alcohol. And exercise, we tell them back off on it because otherwise they're going to lose weight, but then they're going to lose muscle. And we don't want them to lose muscle because in the long run, losing muscle is never good for you. And it's all about sustained weight loss over time. Like if you look on the website, that guy, Paul, that's on that website that lost, on the realdoctor.com, that guy, Paul, he's kept that off. I mean, it's not like something that's come back. It's something that he's kept off, and he's kept off his diabetes, blood pressure, and all that other medications that he's been on. And he's kept it off. And it hasn't been for a month. It hasn't been for like going to the beach or a vacation or, a high school reunion. He's kept it off. He's kept it off for a lifestyle. So he's kept it off, and that's what we want you to do. We don't want you to just lose weight. There are people out there who have lost, 500 pounds. And it's not that they were 500 pounds, but they've lost 20, and then they gained back 50, and then they lost another 10, and they gained back 20. So they've lost 500 pounds over the lifetime. We want you to keep it off. So our patients actually keep that weight off. We teach them a lifestyle. And then, once something tastes good or feels good, you don't want to go back to the old lifestyle. Once that mind's expanded, what I'm trying to get you to do right now, get your mind expanded. Once your mind's expanded, like Einstein said, it can never go back to its original form. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to have a lifestyle of good health, okay? Guys, why am I being so animated? You know what? You're not going to listen to me right now if I'm talking like Bueller, and I'm going to, like a doctor and being very monotone and speaking that way. I got to go out there. I got to give you like a little bit of a motivational speak to keep your attention. And so that's what I'm doing. So I'm not always like, la, 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 I'm not like that, but I'm doing that right now to keep your attention. But I'm also obviously telling you guys know I know my stuff, okay? So now, other things that you should know, things with the keto diet that's harder. It's harder for some people because of low carbohydrate intake, right? Sugar addictions. One thing I like about the keto diet, I got to tell you though, is that, man, once you do get past those sugar addictions and those cravings, they do leave you. The biggest problem that I have people when they get on the keto diet is getting them to eat more because they actually, then they say that they're not hungry. And so, yeah, you lose your cravings when you get into ketosis, and we got to actually force you to eat more to make sure that you're actually staying healthy, okay? The paleo, it's just a little bit more flexible, obviously because you can have a little bit more carbohydrates, and that's just easier in this day. But again, it's away from the processed foods, away from the American lifestyle, guys. You don't eat like every American. It's not good for you, okay? That's just a no-brainer. You already know that. I don't have to tell you that, okay? Athletes. I'm 49 years old myself. I'm a doctor. I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. I train very hard. I run the basketball court with my son. I run hills like the Walter Payton Hills. Just yesterday I was lifting at 11 o'clock at nighttime just so my son could get the workout because he would say, Dad, I need my workout. He's 15 years old. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And so, my skin looks good. I'm not telling you that to brag, by the way. That's not me. I'm telling you that because I want you to have the good life. I want you to be healthy. I want you to have good energy, okay? So athletes that are on, where am I going with this? athletes that are working out real hard. Again, you got to be careful of how many carbohydrates you have because, if your carbs get too low, and you're training very intense, you're going to feel fatigued and tired, and you might not have that zest that you need. And so things sometimes have to be tailor-made specifically for you. But if you're trying to lose fat, then there's another information and pieces of the puzzle that we have to put together for you. Okay? With a keto, again, you can't train too super hard and don't drink alcohol. Okay? The problems get complicated, so sometimes they do because everybody's a little bit differently, and you metabolize differently. You're a certain age. You might be on medication, and how you're training can all have an effect too. There's people out there that I see that are, we call it skinny fat. They look skinny, but they're fat. And so, they take off their shirt and they got rolls or they got cellulite. They're fat. And basically, there's ways to help that as well too. Like in my clinic here, not only do we change their diet, we look at their blood, their urine, their feces, and we find stuff inside their body that shouldn't be there. And then we find that we get a little excited because those things are usually home runs because no one's detected, and we can detect something that nobody else detected. Then it's like a game changer for their life. And then sometimes we use certain machines that help, eliminate or get rid of or actually melt the fat out of their body, and then it liquefies out of the body, and then they just, they, not to be gross, they poop it out. So that's one of the things we do here in my clinic. All right. Diet is not a religion. Okay? The paleo diet, keto diet, here's what you got to remember. These aren't religion, guys, okay? You can't, well, maybe they are religion because sometimes they do modify things in religion, like the Pope, right? Nah, just kidding. I love Catholics. I'm just kidding. I do like I do like the Pope. Okay, seriously. But what I'm trying to tell you is that diets, they don't have to be, exact just because somebody said this and this. We have to think about how we feel, what our blood tests look like, our body chemistry looks like, and what's really happening, and are we building health? And we do that for us. We do that by testing rather than guessing. We either make sure that you're at the optimal level. That's what functional medicine is all about, keeping you at the optimal level so you're not having problems. And then you got to remember, you're different. You could have a twin brother that's genetically like you, exactly identical, and your nutrient needs are different than theirs because he could have a different level of stress that could be affecting his cortisol level, that affects the HPA axis, that affects all parts of the body, and his biochemistry is totally different than yours is. And so you could be exercising differently, you could be on different medications. So all these little factors come into play on optimizing your health. Okay? So something else to just keep in mind. All right, guys. So basically, what I am telling you is that I love you. No, just kidding. I do love my patients, though. But really, seriously, think before you drink. You're in ketosis, and your body is breaking that fat down into fatty acids that eventually lead into ketone bodies. Your liver's working harder. And you go see the doctor at the right timing, and your liver turns up, and you're drinking water, and your liver's working harder. It could be very dangerous. All right? If you're exercising really hard and you're not getting enough carbohydrates in, and you're breaking down your muscle tissue, you're looking leaner, you're getting better because you're thinking you're losing weight, but you're losing muscle, and in the long run, a year or two later, you don't look as good as you thought you should be looking at, even though you lost weight. That's a problem too. So we want you to, for your health, we want lean muscle. We don't want that big Arnold Schwarzenegger. Nothing against Arnold. Arnold, if you're listening, I like you. Okay, but nothing against, people are getting really, really big. I have to watch it myself, just genetically, the way my body is made. I gain muscle pretty easy, like thick muscle. And so I have to train away just to keep my body lean, where somebody else that's leaner, I have to teach them ways to get thicker and bigger. So, we're all different. And so because of that, our nutrition requirements can be different. What we need to eat could be different. There's a lot of little factors, but we can all benefit by eating less sugar, less man-made chemicals, and eating the right amounts of fat, and exercising, and then being around positive people, good-looking doctors. I don't know why I said that, but being around people that are going to be all about health and motivating you. And so if we can do that and we're around good people and that are always, every once in a while accountability, where you come into my clinic and, I know you're slacking and I start noticing little stuff, then every once in a while I got to bring you to the woodshed. Not because I hate you, because I love you, because we want to make sure that you get to the next level. And so if we do all that stuff and we got the right environment, getting your wife, getting your relatives involved, but getting your spouse involved in your health, building that team partnership, and then getting the kids little by little involved. And I know the kids are sometimes a challenge, aren't they? I know they are. I've got 3 of them myself. But getting everybody involved in that, then you get healthier. All right? Yeah, hey, now guys, one other thing I got to ask you to do a favor. I didn't ask you at all, but come on, I'm new with this. Help me help you. Help me help you. Okay? But basically, what I'm asking you to do, subscribe, comment, share. People that need to hear this message, somebody that needs a smile, just needs more information. I'm new. And if I'm going to continue to make these videos, I need your help. And so the only way I can get your help is by you liking, subscribing, and making a comment, and then sharing. If you can do that, I'll continue to pump out these messages for you. But if I don't get your help, I don't know what else I can do. I'll probably still make them for you, but hey, just help me out, okay? Help me help you. All right, guys. Hey, you've been listening seriously, but Dr. M, seriously, guys, have a good day, and seriously, take care. We love you. We want you to do great in life. Bye-bye.